The smartest travelers in 2026 aren't going to be the ones with the most gadgets. They're going to be the ones who know the shortcuts that make everything easier. So today I'm sharing 26 of those shortcuts and travel tips with you. These are clever, easy travel hacks that you can use on any trip next year, whether you're hopping across the United States or flying across the world. From packing to planning to saving money, these are the tricks that actually make travel smoother in 2026. Let's go. Let's start with some money-saving travel tips because these days, I think we all like saving money where we can. Number one, if you're traveling internationally, always take cash from a local bank-supported ATM, not one that's inside the airport and definitely not at a currency exchange desk. Airport ATMs often add hidden fees and exchange counters can mark rates up by 10% or more. Instead, like I said, look for a bank-branded ATM in the city. You're going to get a much better rate and you'll only pay the small fee that your bank perhaps charges. Number two, if you want to start actually using your miles and points, or you've collected a ton of miles and points across different credit cards and hotel programs and just have no idea how to turn them into real trips, then investing in a Daily Drop Pro plan can be worth every penny. You can search award flights across multiple point systems, and once you find that trip that you really want to take, Daily Drop is going to walk you step by step through the entire booking process. And if you've ever tried to redeem points before, you know how confusing that whole system can be, or systems can be. They have recently added one-on-one redemption support too. So if you're still stuck trying to figure out the miles and points math for a specific trip, you can actually talk to a real person at Daily Drop to help you out. Not only does it save you money by finding great cash fares and award deals, but the daily newsletter also keeps you updated on timely travel news and creative ways to stretch your points and miles even further. Number three, another thing that is more important than ever in 2026 is travel insurance. And this isn't just me trying to be dramatic. We are in a time of economic instability, unpredictable weather, and a higher chance of delays and cancellations than we have seen in years. The best thing that you can do is look for an insurance policy that actually helps you, especially if you end up stuck overnight or your luggage gets lost. If you travel more than a couple of times a year, an annual plan is usually cheaper than buying one-off plans for every single trip. It's one of those things that you hope that you're never going to need, but if you do need it, you'll be so glad that you have it. Number four, one way that I have saved a ton of money and make sure that I have reliable communication during my travels is by using an Airalo eSIM. Airalo is the app that lets you download a digital eSIM straight to your phone. No physical SIM cards or waiting in lines at the airport. During our Nordic trip last winter, we traveled to 3 different countries for almost a month. If I had used the international plan on my home cell phone provider, it would have cost me a fortune. Instead, I just paid $25 and I had plenty of data to navigate the cities, make sure that we made it to our trains on time, and stayed in touch with family back home. It's super simple to use. You just download the free Airalo app today using the code GEN3 to purchase your eSIM in advance, and then you can activate it when your trip begins. I've done a whole video with step-by-step instructions on how to use an eSIM that I will have linked below too. With over 200 countries, regions, and even global plans to choose from, Airalo not only saves me money, but gives me confidence that I will have data for my maps, tickets, and communication when I need it most during my trips. A big thank you to Airalo for sponsoring today's video. After you download that free Airalo app, make sure to use the code GEN3 for $3 off your first eSIM for your next trip. Moving on to number five. Once you have that cell service, you can make use of some really underrated tools. One of my favorites is the Google Lens. If you're walking around a new city and see a statue or a historic building or even a dish on a menu that you don't recognize, just point your camera at it and the Google Lens is going to tell you pretty closely what it is. It's like having a little tour guide in your pocket, and it makes exploring on foot and on your own so much more interesting. My sister and I used it quite a lot when we were wandering around Portugal this past summer to find out interesting facts. My sister is a real history buff, and she loved being able to get the information right on the spot. Number six, another tool that I lean on really heavily is Google Maps. Before I head out for the day, I'm going to map out my walking route so that I have a realistic idea idea of how far everything is and how much walking we're actually going to be doing. In cities like Paris, Rome, or Tokyo, you can rack up 20,000 steps before lunch without even noticing. But it's also helpful in smaller towns like Porto, where the hills are really no joke. It was so helpful to be able to pick routes that didn't have as many steps or weren't too hilly so that my mom wouldn't get worn out. Mapping out the day also helps you plan your meals and breaks during the day, and it keeps you from zigzagging across the city. You can even save everything offline, so you're covered even if you do lose that data service. Number 7, while we're talking about apps, Google Translate is a lifesaver if you're traveling somewhere where you don't speak the language. The big thing most people forget is that you can download the offline version of Google Translate before you leave for your trip. That way you can still translate menus, read signs, talk to taxi drivers, and handle simple conversations, even if there's no cell service or Wi-Fi. Just make sure you download it before you leave for your trip. Travel tip number 8, please, whatever airline that you are flying on, download their app before you leave your house. It is the fastest way to keep up with gate changes, delays, boarding groups, and in some cases, even baggage tracking. I've had gate changes happen 3 times in the span of 30 to 45 minutes, and the app updated me well before the airport monitors actually changed. It's honestly the easiest way to stay ahead of any airport or airline chaos that you might encounter on your trip. Number 9, if you are traveling to Europe in 2026, there is a new thing you need to be aware of that actually started in October of this year. The EU is rolling out the entry-exit system, which is replacing the old passport stamp process. It's brand new, it involves biometric data. It is definitely going to slow things down while everybody figures it out. So if you land in a place like Amsterdam, but you're connecting on to Rome, you are going to go through that entry-exit system in Amsterdam. You're going to want at least a 90-minute connection, and maybe honestly more during the summer. The last thing you want is to miss your connecting flight because you are stuck in a huge line for a new system that is being rolled out. I know it's going to be frustrating for a while, but theoretically it's going to be worth it in the end. We will see. Number 10, let's talk about lost luggage, because lost luggage is still happening more often than anyone wants to admit. In addition to putting a tracker inside of your suitcase like an AirTag or a tile, as soon as you check your bag, take a quick picture of your baggage claim sticker just in case it falls off. And before you leave home, take a picture of your suitcase. I know it sounds silly, but when you are trying to describe your bag to an airline employee after you've been traveling for 20 hours, you're going to be so glad that you have a photo to show them. It will just make the whole process so much easier. Number 11 is another simple tip, and that is to save all of your accommodation information offline. Talking about addresses, confirmation numbers, check-in instructions, door codes, all of it. Screenshots are your best friend here, because there is nothing worse than trying to dig through your email for a hotel address when you are jet lagged and trying to communicate with a stranger in a strange land about where you need them to take you so that you can get that good night's sleep that you desperately want. Staying with the simple tips, moving on to number 12, is a tip that's going to save your sanity. Putting an AirTag in both your parked car at the airport and in your rental car. Airport parking lots are huge, and after a long trip, the last thing you want to do is wander around looking for your car. And rental cars, honestly, they usually look exactly the same. So having that little tracker in your car so that you can find it and know which of the cars that all look alike is yours is really, really helpful. And number 13, while we're talking about rental cars, here is one of the simplest tricks that can make a big difference. And that is to tie a bright ribbon or even clip a little colorful keychain to the rearview mirror. That way you can spot your car immediately or pretty quickly in a sea of identical vehicles. It just takes a couple of seconds, but it will save you like 10 minutes of wandering around and perhaps having to press the panic button for the car to be able to find which one is actually yours. Number 14 is something that I started doing a few years ago that I think makes a huge difference, especially when you are arriving somewhere late or you're already really tired from an extremely long travel day, and that is to have your transportation arranged before you land. The one time I didn't do this was last year's trip to Stockholm. home, I was being super cocky, and I figured it would be so obvious and easy to figure out transportation that we just get a taxi. But what I hadn't researched was how far the airport was from downtown Stockholm, and how expensive the taxis are there, and how bad the traffic can be. If I had done some research, I would have known that there was an easy train that you can take back and forth to the airport, which is exactly what we did on the day that we left. When you pre-arrange a shuttle, taxi, or rideshare, or at the very least know exactly what transportation system you're using, you can step off of the plane with a sense of calm because you already know what is coming next. No scrambling, no guessing, and no incredibly expensive taxi rides. Number 15, while we are talking about planning ahead, booking your major sites and tours in advance is basically an essential for 2026. A lot of cities are putting new caps on visitor numbers, especially during peak summer months, and many of the biggest attractions now require timed entry. I've seen things like the Alhambra in Spain and the Anne Frank House in Amsterdam, and even the Eiffel Tower completely book out weeks in advance. The days of being able to walk up and just grab a same-day ticket are long gone in a lot of these places. When you book ahead, you not only guarantee your spot, but you also get to pick your time of day that you want instead of taking what's left if you book them early enough. Number 16 is something else that I love to do that is probably going to sound a little unusual to you, and that is I love taking ghost tours in whatever city I'm visiting. And the reason why is pretty simple. Ghost tours blend history, storytelling, weird facts, and local culture all together in a way that's different from your typical like museum and monument tours. They're not scary, they're actually really fun, and you usually walk away knowing things that you never would have discovered on your own. It is a great way to see a city from a different perspective and discover neighborhoods that you might not have wandered through otherwise. Number 17, let's talk about staying healthy on your trip, because I think the absolute worst thing that can happen on vacation is getting sick. And the truth is, planes are small, enclosed spaces. We're all touching the same surfaces for hours and hours. That is why immediately when I get on a plane, I wipe down my entire airplane seat every time I fly. I'm talking the tray table, the armrest, the seat belt, the screen, even the headrest. It just takes about 30 seconds, and I swear it has saved me from so many post-flight colds. Number 18, another thing that has become a non-negotiable for me is drinking electrolytes throughout the trip, not just on travel days. When you're sightseeing, especially in warm climates or walking long distances, you lose more hydration than you think. Jet lag is also so much worse when you are dehydrated. When I started adding electrolytes to my water every day or every other day, I noticed immediately that I had more energy, fewer headaches, and most importantly, I slept better. And speaking of sleep, number 19, an eye mask has basically changed my entire travel experience because hotel curtains are unpredictable. There's alarm clocks, smoke alarms, and hallway lights that brighten up the rooms as soon as you turn off all of the lights. And if that alarm clock is a blinker, God, that is just the worst. A good eye mask, and I really like silk ones, help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. And better sleep means that you stay healthier and enjoy your trip so much more. Number 20 is something that I always pack, which I call my Healthy Traveler Kit. And it's mostly for stomach and cold issues. It's just a small pouch with things like Smooth Move tea, Imodium, zinc, ibuprofen, and something like Theraflu or another cold medicine. These are the things you don't think about until you desperately need them. And trust me, the last thing you want to do at 10 p.m. in a foreign country is try to find a pharmacy and then speak with somebody in that pharmacy in a language that you don't speak. Having your own little kit is just going to make these unfortunate moments so much easier. Now we're moving into some random but incredibly helpful tips that don't really fit into a specific category. So number 21 is that I pretty much recommend to everybody to bring a lightweight waterproof backpack. This thing is going to help you out in so many ways. You can do it to do a little laundry, like washing out your underwear and bras. All you have to do is just add some hot water with a laundry detergent sheet, shake shake it all up just like a washing machine. And this works really great when you don't have access to a good sink or a tub that would work for washing. And of course, you can use the backpack for hikes, beach days, or any kind of outdoor excursion. And at the end of your trip, it can become your overflow bag for all of the souvenirs that you didn't plan on buying, but you definitely bought. 22 is another must-have for me, and that is a packable rain jacket and a small umbrella. I don't care what season it is, weather can change in an instant, from Korea to Ireland to even Southern Europe. A tiny umbrella and a thin rain jacket weigh almost nothing, and they have saved more travel days than I can count. Number 23 is to throw a few extra Ziploc bags into your suitcase. It shocks me every time how often I actually use these, from wet swimsuits to leftover snacks. I collect my receipts in them, leaky toiletries. You will always find ways to use them. Number 24 is a comfort hack that seems really small, but I think can make a really big difference. If you're wearing a jacket onto the plane, you can roll it up and use it as lumbar support. Airplane seats are notoriously bad for lower back support, especially on long flights. When you place the rolled up jacket right at your lower back, it can keep your posture aligned and really makes those long haul flights so much more bearable. 25 is one of my favorite travel hacks, and it is oh so simple, but it has saved me so many times. And that is, before you go to bed the night before a big travel day, write down all of the last minute items that you can't pack yet. Things like your phone charger, your glasses, your medication, whatever it may be, and stick that note right on your door or your coffee maker or your mirror, somewhere that you're not going to miss it. In the morning, when your brain is still foggy and you're in a rush, that little sticky note can keep you from leaving behind something very important. I really wish I had done this about my passport before we left for the Africa trip. It would have saved me a 6-hour round trip drive back down to my house to get my passport. Yeah, I needed the sticky note then. So make sure you use those sticky notes. Very, very, very helpful. And lastly, number 26, because air travel is so unpredictable these days, I always like to have what I call my freshen up kit handy in my personal item bag. It usually has deodorant wipes, moisturizer, lip balm, and those tiny little disposable toothbrushes. If the flight gets delayed or just happens to be one of those 20 to 30 hour travel days, you can do a quick 2-minute freshen up that will help you feel human again. And there we go. Those are the 26 travel hacks that I think every traveler should know and use in 2026. They're mostly small things, but together they can make your trip smoother, cheaper, safer, and way less stressful. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for being here today. I do want to let you know I'm going to take a few weeks off from publishing here at the end of the year. I have some big projects that I'm working on and some fun videos that need a little more time to make them the best that they can be. But in the meantime, I am going to have some new vlogs going up over on the Christy Travels channel, so check those out if you really start missing me. I want to say a huge thank you to everyone in the community who comes back week after week, and I'm wishing you all lots of love and joy during this holiday season. And as always, I hope that you have safe and wonderful travels.